Hello everybody, I have another chatty style video for you today because A, I really like to film them, and B, I didn't know what else to film. So I decided to do the first time tag. I really enjoy watching these videos myself. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. First YouTube video. I think my first was probably either iDeck or Designate. I can't remember what their official channel name was. Comment down below if you used to watch them because they were the funniest thing back in the day. Like I remember in year 8, me and all my friends used to be obsessed with them and just quote them all day long. I think the first video of theirs that I ever watched was their I Love You one, which I think is still on YouTube actually, so go search it. And I remember I watched it because my friend Taja had already seen it and just kept quoting it relentlessly throughout the day. So I was like, what are you on about? So she showed me and my life was changed forever and I entered the dark cesspit that is YouTube. How poetic. First person you subscribed to. I think the first person I subscribed to was Dan because he was the first YouTuber that I properly got into. I remember I was on Tumblr and because let's just say there was a dark time of my life where I was big on shipping. And I'll leave it there. So I saw his shipping video and I thought this guy is quite funny. And I liked that he was a little bit nerdy as well because a lot of YouTubers, obviously Zoe and Alfie, they're all quite cool, all felt a bit out of my league. So I related to the fact that he was a bit awkward, a bit of a nerd. And so I decided, hey, I'm just gonna binge watch every single video he's ever made or that he's in. And thus the obsession was born. I'm not a stalker, I promise, I'm just massive Dan trash to be honest. First kiss. I was around 13/14 I think, and it was with the guy that I was going out with at the time. And by going out, I mean the bullshit year 9, oh my god, you two are totally going out kind of way, not a legitimate relationship. And as far as I remember, it was as an act of peer pressure. Now that sounds a lot worse than it actually was. It was actually quite sweet. But I've been going out with him probably for a couple of weeks now. And he was in the year above me, so he was a bit older, but he was awkward and I was a bit awkward. And we didn't really know how to approach that kind of level of intimacy, shall we say. So it was one day after school, we were chilling by the bus stops, because you know, what you do when you're cool in year 9. I wasn't cool. And these other kids that were there, they were the popular kids who we were kind of friends with but not really, and they were like, oh, just kiss her. And then we did, and it was alright, it was okay. And it could have gone a lot worse, it was nice. First alcoholic drink. Now I've spoken to my mom about this one, and I'm certain that this happened, but she maintains that it didn't. It could just be her covering her tracks. But when I was a toddler, I used to be a really bad sleeper. So I used to come down around 11 PM when my mum and dad would be sat watching TV, and I just kind of creep in and sit beside them on the floor next to the sofa, a bit like a dog actually. And what my dad used to do is he used to put some of his beer in my sippy cup and I'd sit there and then I'd drink my beer and then he'd take me back up to bed once I'd finished. And I don't know why he did this, because I've heard of parents giving their kids whiskey if they're teething or something, obviously not a shot of whiskey, a little dab. But he literally just gave me a cup of beer and then took me off to bed. So if that's true, bad parenting, Dar. First car. It was a silver Vauxhall Corsa that I shared with my brother and sister and that I named Casper after Casper Lee because I was in an intense YouTube phase at that age. First job. I worked at McDonald's, which was probably the worst job I've ever had. I mean, I haven't had that many jobs, but hands down, that is definitely the worst. But we did get free food on our break, so every cloud, I guess. First pet. I'm going to disregard all the countless series of fish that my family had and count the first proper pets that we got as our 2 cats, Kitty and Mabel. Kitty's dead now, R.I.P. And Mabel left home, she moved in with someone else, we don't know where she is. I think she's still alive, I feel like the owners would have told us that she died, so I think she's still knocking about. But the first pet I ever had that was solely mine and my responsibility was a hamster called Alfie. And before you say it, no, that wasn't after Alfie days. I hadn't started watching YouTube then. So it was just the car. And he was the best hamster ever. I know sometimes hamsters can be boring, but he used to sit on my shoulder and sit in my dressing gown pocket, and I'd carry him around the house, and he used to do backflips off the top of his cage. He was the coolest hamster ever. I miss him a lot actually. First celebrity crush. It was either Lee from Steps, which ho ho ho, or Gareth Gates. Yeah, loved me some Gareth Gates. First person to text me today. Right, let's have a look. I got a WhatsApp off my mom saying, "Oh dear, don't like Zayn's new song / video. Yuck." Which I'm inclined to agree with. Like, what was with the flower between it? I was like, no, Zayn, no, you're trying too hard. But the first actual text I got was a response to one that I'd sent to my friend Imogen. So I messaged her saying, "Had a dream that we met Dan and he had stubble and I was living and he was being really flirty with me, like really flirty, as in, hey, this is me telling you I want to frackle with you, and my vagina was legit about to fall off." And then I left the room for 2 seconds when I came back, "You were getting with him and I have never been angrier." And then she replied going, "Ha ha ha ha, OMG, half of me is really sorry, but half of me is really chuffed." Yeah, that happened. Almost had a sex dream about Dan Howell, but then was dream cock blocked by my best friend. That's what's happening in my life this week. God. Who was your best friend and do you still talk? My first best friend was a girl called Ariana, which, yes, amazing name to begin with. And we were best friends from like reception, which I guess is like first grade in America, I don't really know, up until year 2, which is when she left, she moved away, and I never spoke to her again. First sleepover. My second ever best friend, she was called Shakira, who, yes, also had a freaking awesome name after a really cool pop star. She also moved away. Let's not dwell on the fact that all my best friends were moving away from me. Let's not open that can of worms, please. She moved to Derby, so one weekend my mum drove me up to visit her and I stopped overnight, and all I remember is eating loads of sweets, watching Mouse Chase, that film, and then crying because I missed my mom, but I couldn't go home because I was in Derby and she was in Birmingham, so. Also, I got chased by her big fuck off dog. Like, it was a huge German Shepherd and it chased me around a field. I've never been more terrified in my life. First concert. My first ever concert was Steps. My mom and my older sister, and I really wish I remembered it because I imagine it was a right banger of a show. First broken bone. Fun fact, I have never actually broken a bone in my body, touch wood. However, when I was in year 6, so I was probably around 10, I was in a lesson and I really needed a wee, but I knew that the teacher was really strict and would never let me go. So what I decided to do, because obviously this is what you do in any situation, was to pretend that I had sprained my wrist so that I could go to the toilet and get a wet paper towel. The English first aid system in schools apparently. And whilst I was there, I'd just go for a wee. But things escalated very quickly and I ended up sat in A&E with my dad getting an x-ray. And of course there was nothing wrong and they sent me on my merry way and it was all fine. And I never told him. Like, I still haven't told him to this day, so don't mess with me when I need a wee. You don't know the lengths I'll go to. First movie you remember watching. It was The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney film, which I remember I used to come back from nursery and my mom would ask me, "Well, what video do you want on?" And I would always say Quasimodo. And I absolutely loved that film. And I actually watched it a couple of months ago for the first time since I was like 5. And as an adult, it genuinely scared me, because if you haven't seen it, it's about a crazy religious man leading a mass genocide against gypsies in Paris. And it's really freaking heavy going and it's really quite scary. And I don't understand why this was my favourite film when I was like 5. Like, what was wrong with me? And finally, first tweet. Now, I don't actually have evidence of this because I've deleted a lot of my old tweets for many reasons, but I distinctly remember it being a tweet to Louis Tomlinson. It was in 2010 and it was probably around week 4 of X Factor that the obsession for them was beginning to grow. And I was round at my auntie and uncle's house talking to my cousin and she was telling me about this magical website called Twitter, and I was like, what is this place? And she was like, yeah, you can tweet celebrities and then they'll reply to you. So obviously, little 14-year-old fangirl Georgina was like, I am getting in on this. So I went home, I made my account with a really cringy, embarrassing Twitter handle, which no, I will not tell you. And I decided my all-important first tweet, what would it be? At Louis Tomlinson. Where did you get your onesie from? 5 kisses. So yeah, that is hopefully no longer on the internet. And let's not dwell on my past. Oh, I was such a loser. So there you go, that was the first time tag. No, I didn't talk about my first time having sex or anything like that. I mean, I could have done, but no, we're not quite there yet. Maybe one day, maybe it will have its own video one day. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and leave in the comments below what your first YouTube video you ever watched was and the first YouTuber you ever subscribed to was. Because hey, YouTube, hashtag Team Internet, I want to know. And maybe if it's someone I've never watched before, maybe I'll get some recs from that, so that'd be quite cool. Also, don't forget to subscribe to be told when I upload new videos. I've got some pretty cool stuff coming, so you don't want to miss out on that. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. I hope you're having a really good day. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye! What am I doing? What am I doing?